This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. An adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required by law. Certain portions of the meeting may be closed to the public for the purpose of personnel or other matters as outlined in the Sunshine Law. Decisions made or discussed in closed session will be made known to the public at a later date. All contracts awarded by mayor and council must comply with the affirmative action requirements of NJAC 17:27. Fire exits are located in the direction I'm indicating. In the event of a fire, please move in a calm, orderly manner to the nearest smoke-free exit. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Yockelbo.
Present.
Councilman Hokinson.
Here.
Councilman Casais.
Here.
Councilwoman Story. Here. Councilman Kelly.
Here.
Councilman El Marassi.
Here.
Mayor Carty.
Here.
All members present, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, I'd ask everybody to please stand. And Madam Clerk, if you could please lead us in a prayer and the pledge of allegiance.
Eternal God, grant us thy help in all our duties and all our perplexities. We ask for thy guidance. Give us thy protection in all our dangers and all our sorrows. Grant us thy peace. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, I believe we're going to begin our meeting this evening with the budget items. Please read ordinance 2405 by title only.
Ordinance 2405 is an ordinance authorizing an emergency appropriation for the preparation and execution of a complete program of revaluation of real property for use of the tax assessor of the Borough of Roselle Park, County of Union, New Jersey.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Council President, for your motion.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion that the public portion of ordinance number 2405, 2405 be open. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Public hearing portion for ordinance 2405 is hereby open. Anyone wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address, and tell us what's on your mind with regard to ordinance 2405 and with regard to ordinance 2405.
Jacob McGarrett, 612 Sheridan Avenue, Roselle Park. Ladies and gentlemen, the audience, viewing audience, members of council, good evening. In reference, to 2405, tax assessor of Roselle Park, Borough of Roselle Park. I don't know if I can ask this question to the chair. In West Orange, zero municipal tax hike up for debate in West Orange. Can I bring that up at this?
I don't know what that has to do with.
I can't hear you.
I don't know what that has to do with ordinance 2405.
About the property reevaluation.
Oh, they didn't increase taxes when they did a property reval. Is that what you're saying? I haven't read the article. I'm not sure. Does the article deal with the tax reval?
It has to do with assessment.
Does it have to do with the tax revaluation? Assessments are different than reval.
My humble apologies. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Anyone else wishing to speak with regard to ordinance 2405 and with regard to ordinance 2405 only, please step forward, state your name and address, and tell us what's on your mind.
Salt Cares and 150 Berlin Street. With regard to the revaluation, if this is passed, does that mean that the process will begin for placing bids and the rest for reval? So once this is done, because the previous resolution approved the payment of it, this is the final step there, am I correct?
This is the final step, put the funding in place in order to go forward with the process.
So once the funding is in place, generally, what is the process?
If I may, Mr. Mayor, what this ordinance does is makes it called an emergency appropriation, which allows it to be outside caps in the budget process. Once the budget, hopefully we're having a public hearing on the amendment next, then once we close that, we'll go into adoption of the budget. If the budget is adopted, that means the reval is in there. Once that process now, we will start preparing bid specs to get out, for the bid specs to go out. When they come back in, when it was picked, then that's when the meetings will be set up. We're still a ways away from the process.
Is there a general time frame? Is it over a year, 2 years, 3 years?
The process of doing the bid will be done before the end of this year. The contract has to be awarded before the end of this year. Most times a reval takes about 2 years to be complete.
And the reason for the amount, and I don't want to talk out of school, but from my understanding from previous meetings, it had to do with the fact that there's different price ranges for different services.
Correct. We're looking to be covered on the basis of once this is done, that when they come up with these assessments, that they'll defend them if anybody puts an appeal of tax court for the following 2 years after.
So it's their version of a performance bond, pretty much. Now here's a bizarre question. Suppose this passes and the budget doesn't. just because you never know.
Well, this allows it to be put in the budget as an emergency appropriation.
I see, then in total as a budget, then that can be discussed. So this is allowing it to be put into the budget.
This is allowing it to be put outside caps in the budget.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on ordinance 2405 and on ordinance 2405 only, please step forward, state your name and address and tell us what's on the line.
Okay, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance number 2405. Oh, no. This is the budget.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Budget. I'm sorry. Not that I wanted to deprive you of your right to talk about the budget. Okay. Once, twice, 3 times for the budget. Okay, Mayor, stand by my motion. Close the public hearing on ordinance number 2405, 2405. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Public hearing portion for ordinance 2405 is hereby closed. Do I hear a motion on ordinance 2405?
Mayor, I would like to make a motion that ordinance number 2405, 2405 be adopted on second reading and advertised as prescribed by law. Second.
Any questions or comments with regard to ordinance 2405? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Yakubo?
Yes.
Councilman Wilkinson?
Yes.
Councilman Casayas?
Yes.
Councilwoman Story? Yes. Councilman Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman Almarasi?
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Motion passes. Madam Clerk, at this time I'd like to begin the public hearing on the 2004 budget amendment.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion to open the public hearing on the budget amendment. Second.
Clerk, please call the roll. I open the public hearing on the 2004 budget amendment.
Councilman Yocolo?
Just do them all favor, yes or no?
Again?
I'll vote yes.
No, we'll call Councilman Yocolo.
Yes.
Councilman Hogan.
Yes.
Councilman Desire.
Yes.
Councilman Story. Yes. Councilman Kelly.
Yes.
Councilman Alvarado.
Yes.
Mayor, this is the time for the public hearing on the municipal budget amendment for 2014. The amendment was approved by the governing body on May 1st, 2014, was advertised in controls required by law on May 8th, 2014, together with a notice of hearing for this time. Printed copies have been made available to the public, and a supply is here in the back of the room for anyone desiring a copy.
Anyone who has not secured a copy of the budget amendment may do so now. They are in the rear of the room if you'd like to get a copy. Before opening this hearing, I wish to outline the procedure. Each person desiring to be heard will rise and give his or her name and address before speaking. I will recognize one speaker at a time, in order of rising as nearly as I can determine. Address all questions through the chair. Where necessary, they will be referred to an individual, the governing body, or among the municipal officers. Questions must be confined solely to the municipal budget amendment before us. School or county matters are not proper subjects of this hearing and cannot be discussed or answered here tonight. I now declare open the public hearing on the municipal budget amendment for 2014.
So here's 150 Berlin Street regarding the amended budget. This reduced, what is the final?
Hold on, I'm sorry.
That was a quick second.
Sorry. I get the wrong button, I'm sorry.
Look at my lawyer.
Boy, time flies.
That's our vote.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
It's all right. What is the final increase at a house that says it's $65,000 with this amendment? Because last time it was 103.
Prior to this, it was 103.35 for a house assessed at 65,000. With this amendment, brings it down to $99.45 for a house assessed at 65,000.
And this includes the reevaluation.
The reval has no impact on this budget.
Additionally, this amendment, does it include bulk pickup?
It includes one bulk pickup at this time.
And for the record, I just want to confirm to the chair, to the CFO, that if there was an additional bulk pickup, there'd be an increase of around $10. With the what is it, 18,000 for the,
It was, I believe, yeah, it was 18,000 for the bid for pickup and then disposal, depending on what you average it in at. This amendment, the bulk pickup was in the regular introduced budget.
oh, then I can't ask.
It's not in the amendment.
Okay, bye.
Anyone else wishing to speak, please step forward with your name and address, tell us what's on your mind.
Jacob McGarrett, 612 Sheridan Avenue, Roselle Park. Ladies and gentlemen, the audience, viewing audience, members of council, good evening. To the chair, to the chief financial officer. It came down $103 to $99.45. What percentage of that came down?
What percentage came down?
Approximately 4.5%.
Mayor just answered you.
That's approximately 4.5%.
At the last budget meeting, I had suggested the council take a 10% cut on the other expenses. And then when I was leaving, I just, do 7.5. I stand by 7.5. Reduce it another 7.5%.
There are certain items that can't be reduced. Certainly pension payments, any agreed upon expenses such as salaries and all cannot be reduced. We take a look at every line item and make determinations of what is needed and what is not needed. And it's really easy that every time somebody sticks up their head, you can take a pot shot at what they're doing. But the reality is that a simple thing like bulk pickup, people want a second or third bulk pickup, well, that increases the amount that you're paying. And it's very difficult when you're trying to balance all these balls, trying to figure out what it is that you're going to include, what it is that you're going to try to exclude to decrease taxes. As with everything else, there are increases in the cost of doing business. And council and our chief financial officer and Councilman Casais in particular as the chair of the committee have really gone out of their way to make sure that we have contained taxes as much as possible. It's something that we decided to do when I took over as mayor. We had talked about reining in tax increases, and we've done it. Every year we've come in under a $100 increase. So I think that everybody up here is trying to do the best. Remember that everybody up here is also a taxpayer, a resident in this town. We're your neighbors, and we don't want to pay extra taxes if we don't want to, if we don't need to.
In this budget, is the new DPW money in here?
All of the costs for any potential new DPW are capital expenses.
It's not part of the amendment,
It's not in here.
not in the amendment. It's a capital item.
Oh, because I was going to suggest you've got $2.6 million for the new DPW building. 200,000 has already been used, and the projected cost was $1.6 million, and you got an extra $1 million hanging around.
Well, that's not part of this amendment, but I will say that in this community, we've always regretted not having done something. And for us to sit up here and recognize that our DPW is in the condition that it's in, the state that it's in, and not do the right thing by considering what the future possibilities are with regard to modernizing the buildings and making it a more feasible and viable operation, so that way there are cost savings, energy efficiencies, delivery efficiencies, ergonomic efficiencies for the employees, storage for the equipment that's not available now. It would be obscene for us to sit up here and say that we're doing everything that we can for the community without not thinking about the future. To not do so would be penny wise and pound foolish, in my opinion. And as a resident who hopes to live here for many years to come, I hope that any future councils will think about the future and recognize that sometimes you have to spend something to gain a lot more.
Mayor, if I may, another reason why, 4 years ago, we as council tried to do shared services. We've gone to every municipality surrounding this borough asking to join up DPWs, Kenilworth, Cranford, and the answer always came back no. Our latest out-of-the-box thinking was possibly get the Moran property and merge Kenilworth and Roselle Park together. They turned us down. So the only offer that we had was like 2 towns over, and the efficiency of having our men go back and forth from 2 different towns just was not feasible. So the building that we had, what was it, last year? We had like about 106 violations. A couple minor, I mean, the majority of them, thank God, were minor, but there was a couple major ones. So now it's 100-something years old, so it's time that, like you said, we're looking for the future.
That building's been,
Well, not that part.
Parts of the building have been there for long enough that it's up there.
Does this budget contain any sewer user tax, or would you, the sewer user tax?
So that's the sewer fee.
And how much is in there?
The sewer fee is a separate budget. One of the reasons that, again, this council has decided to do something that hadn't been done previously, which is to bring some of the cost that had been in the sewer budget back into this budget, is because it's more likely that the employees that were being carried in the sewer budget are actually not doing sewer type work. So they're placed properly in this budget. Even doing so, believe me, we could have left the sewer fees the way they were and sat up here and all said, we didn't raise taxes one bit for the past 4 years. If you think about it, we took a whole bunch of expenses and put them into the regular operating budget because we felt two things. First of all, it matches up more with what the actual work is that's being done. And second of all, we understand that real estate taxes you can deduct from your federal taxes. Sewer fees cannot be deducted from the federal taxes. So I think we've done the right thing again. It may not be the most politically laudable thing, but it certainly is the right thing to do.
How much do we have left in the sewer tax?
I'm sorry, that's not part of the amendment that you're talking about.
Is the $500,000 for...
Mr. Majero, I apologize for your time, sir.
Oh, there's no time limit in a
I
public
thought we
hearing.
could discuss money spent in ordinances.
My apologies, sir. You're fine.
On property revaluation, we took money from sewer tax surplus. How much is left in the sewer tax surplus?
I'm not sure what the number is, but again, that's not part of this discussion. This is the budget amendment. And the sewer fees are a separate entity.
But isn't that taxpayers' money and it should be accountable?
Mr. Regera, I agree with you 100%, 110%.
That I'm going to put.
But it'd probably be better if you asked that during the public portion for procedure purposes. The general public portion, I'm sure we'd be happy to answer if we have it tonight. But right now, we have a public portion on the amendment.
With ordinances, you can go with the over 7 minutes. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak with regard to the budget amendment, with regard to the budget amendment only, please step forward. State your name and address and tell us what's on your mind.
Okay, Mayor, I would like to make a motion to close the public hearing on the budget amendment.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Public hearing portion is now closed.
Mayor, I request that the clerk be instructed to read section 2 on page 41 and 42.
Madam Clerk, please read those sections.
Resolved by the governing body of the Borough of Roselle Park, County Union, that the budget hereinbefore set forth is hereby adopted and shall constitute an appropriation for the purposes stated in the sums therein set forth as appropriations, and authorization of the amount of $11,785,811.20 for municipal purposes, $339,991.01 for municipal library tax, general revenues, surplus anticipated $1,450,000, miscellaneous revenues anticipated $2,509,352.62, received from delinquent taxes $460,000. Amount to be raised by taxation for municipal purposes $11,785,811.20. Amount to be raised by taxation for schools in Type 1 school districts notified to be added to the certificate for amount to be raised by taxation for schools in Type school districts only. Amount to be raised for taxation minimum library levy $339,991.01. Total revenue $16,545,154.83. General appropriation within cap, A and B, operations including contingent, $11,041,168,000. E, deferred charges and statutory expenditures municipal, $1,151,730. Excluded from caps, A, operations, total operations excluded from caps, $927,000. $863. C, capital improvements, $100,000. D, municipal debt service, $1,934,076.83. E, deferred charges municipal, $520,000. M, reserve for employment taxes, $870,317. School appropriations, total appropriations, $16,545,154.83.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Council President?
Mayor, I would like to make a motion to approve resolution number 110-14, 110-14.
Second.
Any questions or comments among Mayor and Council?
Mayor, I would like to make a comment. This being my last year on council, I know I don't normally, didn't do this last year when I was finance chair. Just really quickly, I want to thank every member of council. I want to thank our CFO, Ken Long. I've had a privilege to work with, and I thank the mayor for appointing me as finance chairman and liaison to the budget. Working with him, fantastic experience. I'm thankful to call him a friend. He's a true professional in everything that he does. This budget would not be possible. The operation of the borough would not be possible without Ken, so I give him a lot of credit. I want to thank every member of council, especially the finance committee. I've tried to keep updated throughout my 2 years as finance chairman. We haven't always agreed. I don't know if any two of us have agreed on every one of the issues, no matter how good of friends we may be. But this budget really does reflect compromise. Even though I'm the budget chairman, I don't 100% agree with everything in the budget, but we make it work. And that's what we're here to do. We're just to make it work for everyone out there. And to everyone in the public, I can guarantee you that regardless of what it may seem, of what's said, of the personalities, everyone does come together up here for the benefit of all of you. And I really feel that after 3 years of being on council, that this budget reflects that kind of work. So I hope to have, I really do hope to have unanimous vote tonight. I think that would reflect nicely for, not me, because this isn't my budget, it's everyone's budget. And we're here to get it done. So.
Thank you.
Also, I'd like to thank everybody, especially, you weren't going to clap with No, honestly, truly, ladies and gentlemen, the hours that we spend, the crunching that we start the first of the year, I'm proud. This council, we thought outside the box. The reval was a hot topic, but we're going to stop the bleeding. It's going to stop, okay? We just lost, what was it, 72? Mr. Finance Chairman? 236? 276,000.
From the last appeal,
Yeah,
it was about $74,000.
$74,000 for one appeal. So the bleeding is going to come to a stop. Plus, every member on this council thought that we're not putting your children, my children in debt. We brought that down, we're bringing that down because we're thinking outside the box. It was a hard effort. I'm also proud this year. There was no layoffs. We kept hiring. We still got our bulk. We still got fireworks. So this council worked hard to get where we were. We always work hard, and I'm thankful, and I'm going to cry next year. Good job, everybody. Thank you.
I wanted to personally thank, same as Councilman Casais, I want to thank the people that he mentioned. The borough clerk also has been involved in the process, and we thank her for her efforts. And the chief financial officer, they both really make this possible to go through the system. They're the full-timers we have here, making sure that the day-to-day operations run smoothly. But Councilman Casais isn't going to pat himself on the back enough. He, for the past 2 years, has taken on the mantra of stabilizing taxes more than anybody else up here. And he has done a bang-up job of doing so. There are times when topics come up for discussion, and he listens to all of the input from everybody on all the sides, and then he can simplify the arguments and make a case for the benefit of the residents of the community. And that's exactly what he has done for the past 2 years as chairman of the Finance Committee. And I want to thank Councilman Casales for coming up with what I think is a phenomenal budget for my final budget. Thank you.
If I could just mention, also Councilman Casales, thank you, because it's a process where everybody on the council was notified when the meetings were. Everything was very organized, and I think that really helped us come together and be able to have dialogue, agree or disagree. I also want to recognize not only Ken and the clerk and everybody else, but also the department heads in our community that understand the cost of doing business in the borough and the cost of operations, and being mindful of overtime and being creative when it was necessary, and doing things, doing more with less throughout the budget process. And I think everybody came to the table that had spoken as far as our department heads and individuals in different departments that want to make the budget work for everybody. There's a realization that everything we spend money on should have a benefit to the community in some way, shape, or form. So I really just want to recognize them as well. Karen, fire department, police department, everybody, first aid squad, everyone who came in understands the expenses and how to sharpen the pencil. So to quote Councilman Hoganson and others. So again, thank you. And, I'll be supporting the budget.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Yocum.
Yes.
Councilman Wilkinson.
Yes.
Councilman Sykes.
Yes.
Councilwoman Story. Yes. Councilman Kelly.
Yes.
And Councilman Olarossi.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The 2014 budget amendments hereby approved.
Now.
Madam Clerk, I understand that we have some communications this evening.
Yes, Mayor, we have a request from the residents of the 400 block of Hemlock Street to hold an end-of-school year party on Thursday, June 19th, 2014, from 3 to 10 p.m.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion to approve the communication.
Any questions or comments? I know that the residents of Hemlock Street have had block parties in the past. I've attended a few of them. They're always fun. They're always respectful. And I hope that council will certainly approve this request. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The request is hereby granted. Okay, I'm going to skip my report recommendations at this point, and I'd like to do 2 proclamations. I know at least one has the recipients in attendance, but I'm not sure about the second one.
Yes, Councilman.
Yeah, that will actually be at the Memorial Day Parade.
Okay. Okay, so why don't I start with the second one first? I'll explain what it is, and then we'll go ahead and move on to the one for the residents who happen to be present this evening. As everybody knows, we're doing a Memorial Day parade again this year, and we were trying to figure out who we could have as our Grand Marshal for this new old tradition of Roselle Park. The Memorial Day Committee came up with an idea for Grand Marshal. His name is Samuel Damiano, and he is the namesake and nephew of one of Roselle Park's doughboys. So it really is fitting that we invite this gentleman to come in. I have signed this proclamation resolving that Samuel Damiano will be the Grand Marshal for the Memorial Day 2014 parade, and I will give this back to the clerk now so that way we can present it on the Memorial Day, during the Memorial Day celebration. And next, I'd like to ask Mr. and Mrs. Marion Stewart to step forward, please. Carl? to it is very tentative. Before I give this out, I want to say that I've known Mr. and Mrs. Stewart for several years. Among all of the great things they do in our community, one thing that they do that they don't let a lot of people know about is that they are volunteer listeners at a group called Contact We Care. It's a phenomenal organization that does crisis interventions. There is a toll-free phone line and a local phone line that can be called whenever there's a situation where someone feels that they're in crisis. And the volunteers talk them through that crisis very successfully. It's a organization that is completely volunteer. It's a wonderful nonprofit, and they are teamed up with our high school and our Board of Education now to decrease the incidence of crises that our students have faced over the past few years. And since Contact We Care has been involved with the Board of Education, there's not been one additional crisis among our students that cannot be resolved properly. So, while that's not what the citation is for this evening, I do want to recognize them for their service to Contact We Care. What I would like to do this evening is to present a Citizens Award to Mary and Jim Stewart in recognition of a donation of a defibrillator to the Church of the Assumption and the sponsorship of CPR classes for the members of the Knights of Columbus.
Yeah, can the Knights come up and, yeah, get up here. Come on, come on.
They're
Come on,
my
Knights,
nuts.
come on. There. Ladies and gentlemen, this is this is a true moment of what Roselle Park is all about. This is what Roselle Park is. This is what Roselle Park is about. I've said it my whole entire life. I got to figure out how to coin the phrase or Roselle Parkians, but these people donated a defibrillator to the Church of the Assumption, which is a vital hub of the community here. Okay? Not only did they pay for the instrument itself, they also paid for these gentlemen behind me, 10 volunteers, Knights of Columbus, to go to CPR classes, which were held up at our first aid squad. So they paid for that out of pocket expense. Not only, I hope that God would never have to use it. I honestly do. I hope that God would never have to use the defibrillator. But the good thing about it is, with the training, these are 10 volunteers. I mean, you all know. I mean, these are all volunteers you see at all the events, the kids' events, the little leagues, and everything else that are trained in CPR. They're now trained in CPR because of this lovely couple. So, hopefully, you guys never have to use it, but it's nice to know that the community has 10 more people that are qualified to do CPR and also use the machine. So this is what Roselle Park is about. That's why we're here. And, you know, I'm proud, and I thank you, I thank you, I thank you.
I want to thank the mayor, Carl, and my nuts. They're my nuts. These wonderful men step forward, as well as the Roselle Park First Aid Squad provided the training. We have 10, that doesn't mean that they're just going to CPR people in Assumption. They're part of the community. So if anybody needs help, they know how to do it. Thank you very much.
You got it? Hold it up, hold it.
Look at this, I'm surrounded by all these men.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to take the reports of the committees and council members. And I'll begin with our Councilman at Large, Carl Hogan.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things, I'll keep it short tonight. Back on Wednesday, May the 7th, I attended the Union County Transportation Board meeting held in Scotch Plains. The one-seat ride was another hot topic. Just to let you know, to keep you updated, the one-seat ride is that we can get on the train here at Roselle Park and takes you right into the Penn Station, not the transfer. There's 4 phases to this program within the next 2 years. Right now, we're coming up on phase 2, which means that they're going to try to start doing trains into New York during prime hours on the weekends. So we will be getting hold of our legislators to keep this going, to make it a permanent thing for prime time people that want to go into the city both weekends and weeknights, so it's very good. I'd like to thank our members, Roselle Park Fire Department. On Saturday, they're out doing their boot drive. The boot drive is for the members that they're raising money to put the members that have died over the years, for the brass plaques that are going to be eventually mounted up to Kelly Corpus Park. So congratulations to the fire department for trying to get the money to get those plaques. I also attended the Concerned Citizens meeting at one of our local pizzerias. It was a nice turnout. There was a lot of good give and take. And I just want to bring out one of the things that was discussed. The word permits. It's not a moneymaker for the town. The permits are there for you folks. Let me give you an example. It was brought up at the meeting. It was verified by an electrical inspector that's got over 35 years experience. You go out and do work in your house. You want to put a new room, do whatever you want. And you run out electrical lines, and you put those boxes out there. A year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years later, the house catches on fire. First thing the investigators, the insurance company are going to come and say, ooh, we found the cause was faulty wiring. They're going to come upstairs and ask our construction department, where's the permit? They did the electrical work for this addition. Don't have it. See ya. Good luck in court. You're out. Your house is burned down and you're out. The permits are not for us. All they are is for you to make sure that the job is being right and you're being protected. So that was one of the things that I thank the Concerned Citizens for. This Tuesday, May the 13th, I attended the fundraiser for the Sandy Hook Elementary School playground held here at our local castle. It was nice to see the mayor and council that pushed through the permit. It was a big turnout. I think they're in the process of up to their 19th. And the guys that were down, all the way down the shore, like down past Atlantic City, they worked all day and they drove up here for the fundraiser. So it goes to show you the dedication that these volunteers have. So I was proud to be there. Last night we had the fundraiser over at Rita's Ice. It was a nice turnout, and I'd like to thank Mayor Holly, for stepping in and helping us with that. Just a couple of upcoming events this Wednesday. I don't want to take away. May 21st is the Fireman's Memorial up in Kelly Corpus Park. It's a rainy day to be here. And I don't want to take away from the councilman. I guess he'll talk about the Memorial Day Parade. I'm glad it's back, to support our veterans. And I don't want to take away from Councilman Casais because he's on a good thing with the budget. There is a budget meeting on the 27th, and I still have, anybody wants a Super 600 tickets, I still have them. Other than that, Mayor, I conclude my report. Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to comment on the Transportation Advisory Board that you've been attending the meetings for, and I thank you for that. I know that you've been very vocal with regard to the one-seat ride and the BRT. These are two things that will really serve our community well in the years to come. The bus rapid transit line is supposed to run between Newark Airport, Jersey Gardens, through Elizabeth, along the fallow rail tracks could go as far out as Plainfield. And the premises, there would be an off-street bus line that would get you to Newark Airport. And frankly, I can't tell you the number of times I wish I could just jump on a train or a bus and get straight to the airport. So it really is a great idea. It would serve greatly to increase property values. And we had a realtor here a minute ago, but he is not here now, that the one-seat ride into New York has already had an impact. Property values continue to rise in Roselle Park, and that's just with the addition of midday one-seat rides. Now with the weekend one-seat rides, I can really see property values increasing greatly again. By the time that all 4 phases are implemented, they say that the one-seat ride could increase property values, not just certain percentage points, but also $5,000 per minute saved in the transfer. So you can really get an idea of what a great idea this is, and I hope that everybody supports it, as Councilman Hokinson has been supporting. One-seat ride into New York is what we really want on the Raritan Valley Line.
Yeah, Mayor, it was brought up at the meeting, which anybody wants to have the minutes, but they're hoping by November, okay, this November, to be at least a peak train, you know, in the weekday. You know, the third phase would be the weekends, but the problem is the work that's in the tunnels. So that's one of the reasons why I'm glad that also the council approved to reach out and have the local Congress people, senators who are come here, that we need them to back this, because I'm telling you folks, I'm telling you, go ask the people in Berkeley Heights, New Providence, that live next to the train station. A woman got into a bidding war, she got $31,000 more for her house. I'm telling you, it's coming. It's coming. So, enough of that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Next up is our first ward councilman, Councilman Andrew Casillas.
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I have is that we need to finalize the capital budget for 2014. As Councilman Hokinson indicated, we're looking at the 27th. Is everyone okay with the 27th? Can we set it for 6 o'clock? Yeah. Okay, so we'll finalize capital if the clerk could advertise for 6 o'clock in the conference room on the 27th. That's all I have to report.
Thank you. Thank you. Next up is our second ward councilwoman, Councilwoman Charlene Story.
Thank you, Mayor. Since the last council meeting, I attended the Morses Creek meeting, and I'm happy to say that we voted once again not to impose any dues for this year. That probably will change next year. This is 2 years that we haven't, but hey, we'll take it 1 year at a time. We'll take whatever we can get. There will be a meeting in June, and I will report back on that. Really, the commission is kind of winding down its work, so they're not as frequent as they may have been at one time. Let's see. Speaking again to the one ride question, I do encourage everybody to contact their legislators and tell them how much we need this. Part of what that underscores is the benefit of Roselle Park just for location, the old real estate joke, location. But we have so much around us, not just the convenience of getting into Manhattan, but I was invited to an event at the Broadway Arts. There's at the Hamilton Stage an original play that is being put on. It's a lovely theater. There isn't a bad seat in the house. It's not huge. Tickets are reasonable. It's convenient. It's something different to do. These are the things that really make this. We're such a great location. We can go into the city. We can go locally. There's so many things that sell us, and I think we need to remember that sometimes and promote that. That it's just a great location here in Roselle Park. I was invited to speak at an American Legion meeting where brought up the fact that we need pictures of veterans, once again, for the entrance area of the Veterans Memorial Library. The work on that is coming along. Hopefully will be at least largely completed by Memorial Day. But it is being dedicated to the veterans, and we really need to recognize our Roselle Park veterans. So please, we can make copies of pictures. You'll get your photo back. That's not a problem. But please, if you are a veteran, you have a veteran in your family, please bring a picture. Also, the Historical Society is making wonderful progress on their World War I exhibit. It's amazing how much information there is there about World War I and Roselle Park. It's just incredible. It's a really exciting exhibit. It's really great. If anyone has anything they would like to lend for that, any memorabilia or anything specific to World War I, that also would be wonderful. And the museum will be open after the events on Memorial Day if anyone wants to get a peek at what the exhibit will be like. Of course, it will be going on, through Veterans Day, but it's very interesting, and I think everyone should be would have their eyes open to how much went on in Roselle Park during that time. And that's about it. I hope everybody comes to the Memorial Day Parade. It's going to be exciting.
Thank you. Next up is our third Ward Council representative, Councilman Ryan Kelly.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one item brief, just to reiterate, the Roselle Park Fire Department will be hosting its annual memorial service at Kelly Culver's Park this coming Wednesday at 7 o'clock. And again, if poor weather will be hosted at Borough Hall, but that's all I have to report tonight.
Thank you. Next up is our fourth Ward Council representative, Councilman Gino Amorossi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to start to thank our council at large, Carl Hawkinson, for helping me cutting a tree for one of the residents. I want to thank him very much. It's been very helpful. May 10, I did attend the Concerned Citizen meeting. I also would like to congratulate our new business in town. Tommy joined me to congratulate Tommy Ludlow. He's a new business in town here in Roselle Park. Great food and great cook. One of the last things also too, as everybody else mentioned, Memorial Day Parade, please join us at the 26th. That's going to be 10 a.m. Please everybody join us. And there's going to be a picnic at the end of the memorial service at the Casano Center. So everybody's invited. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm excited about Memorial Day. I'm looking forward to it. One of the people I'll be thinking about on Memorial Day is Staff Sergeant Paul Sweeney, who is the only Roselle Park resident to date killed in action in Afghanistan. Today was his birthday, so I keep him in my heart. Next up is our fifth Ward Councilman, Mike Yakupov.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll try to keep my report brief as well. Also, to piggyback Councilman Rossi, I also had an opportunity to stop in and greet the new business, Tommy's Joint, 314 West Webster Avenue. He's a young man, he's from Union, but he wanted to open up a business in Roselle Park, and he's very dedicated. He really is pouring his entire heart into his business. It was nice to see when I was there was a lot of kids that were coming home from school, they were popping in there. One of the kids asked, "Oh, where's so-and-so?" And he said, "Well, I'm a new owner here." And they were like, "Really?" So he gave him a couple of free samples. I mean, he's really open and dedicated to working with the community, to having a thriving business in the community. So just want to welcome him. His sandwiches are great. I purchased one as well. Anyone who's, if you got some spare time during the day, or I believe it's open until 6 p.m., pop in there. I know he's great. So it's really motivated to do well. Just an update in the community watch meeting. We held a short meeting. We didn't get a huge draw of residents to this one. I had a number of people tell me they couldn't make it at the last minute, but nonetheless, the people that were there, we chatted a little bit. I do want to thank Officer Madrano and Officer Northrop, I believe it was, had come out. They were going to do a presentation about different scams and the things that are going around that are common right now. And it's really important because you may not be a victim, you may be savvy to it, but some people are not, and it's really good to be able to spread the word about the things that are common, things that are going around, because scammers are always trying to find an edge, finding a way, whether it's by phone call or knocking on your door, and it's happened here in town, and I never want to see anyone fall victim to any of those type of things, and I really want to make people aware, so we'll try to reschedule, try to have another meeting, get a larger draw of people out, and I think it'll be a great event to be able to share some information. I did create a PowerPoint, so if anybody would like a copy of that, or just some updates, I'd be happy to share that. I was reached out to by another Eagle Scout, who wants to do a project in the community. I've made the connection between him and DPW Superintendent Rich Graves for them to work together, come up with some ideas. What would be nice in the community. The young man wants to do something along the lines of landscaping in the community. He's going to be raising his own funds, he's going to be generating his own materials, and he's going to be doing something nice, he's going to provide to DPW, and then I'll try to share it with the council, a sample of what he wants to do in the location. So I'll be communicating with him, but it's just nice that we have young men stepping up, wanting to make a difference in the community and have a positive impact. Two things to announce. I'm very happy. One of our legislators in the 21st District, Assemblywoman Nancy Munoz, I don't know if you've heard in the news today, but today was the very first day that I heard it. Today is the 45th day since both the Senate and the legislature, the Assembly had passed the Jessica Lunsford Act. Some people may not be aware of that act. It's something that when I worked at the Assembly office under Dr. Eric Munoz, the Assemblyman at the time, he was extremely passionate about, and it was a law that he really pushed for and advocated. Mr. Lunsford actually flew into New Jersey. Many states have adopted it, but New Jersey has not. It's enforcing much more harsher penalties for child offenders. And the state of New Jersey did not pass this law for 9 years, and today, on the last day, the governor signed it into law. So it really is a victory for the state of New Jersey, for all the communities, and really a testament to former Mayor DiOrio from Roselle Park, who worked on this legislation, to Elizabeth Carney, to Assemblyman Munoz, Assemblyman Branding, Senator Kane, everybody who really put their best effort and it made it happen. So it's a joyous day for the state of New Jersey. And also our legislator, and we're proud to say this, there are a lot of legislators in the state of New Jersey. She was named one of a top 50 special healthcare power list by Politicker NJ. Her influence in the Health and Human Services Committee, her background with the nursing community, she's really been an asset to the state of New Jersey, and it's great to know that we have a leader in the Assembly representing us in District 21. So I just want to give her the credit for that. And lastly, just to announce, it's going to be a business-to-business networking event. It's being hosted in Union County. Obviously, it's hosted by the freeholders and also the Union County Workforce Investment Board. It's an opportunity to go network, an opportunity to meet potential investors and prospective individuals who want to grow their business. I certainly will make an effort to attend. The event will be held on Tuesday, May 20th from 5:30 to 8:30. It's going to be it's called At the Lobby. It's 821 Spring Street in Elizabeth, New Jersey. And you do have to RSVP just so they know how many people are going, but you have to, I called in today, the deadline to RSVP has passed, it was May 6th, but they said if people call in and they want to go, they'll certainly make the accommodation, and the number is 908-558-2292. So it's just a great way to meet people and interact and share ideas and potentially work with some individuals that want to invest in the community. So with that, that concludes my report, and thank you for your patience.
I'd just like to ask you and remind everybody else, when we use borough resources, we really need to be in agreement on council to do so. When you had your block watch meeting, I believe you pulled 2 police officers off the road to prepare for this meeting and do the meeting, and it was very low attendance. It's something that, while it's a laudable idea, the cost of the community to do so is rather expensive if we don't take the proper measures to make sure it's advertised properly and we get people out there. So I would just ask in the future, if you do something like that, that please clear it with council that you're going to be pulling 2 police officers off the road. certainly through the Public Safety Committee, because there is a huge cost involved in doing that with no real payback in this particular instance.
Thank you for your concern, Mayor, but actually I asked the two officers that were there if there's sufficient coverage, and they assured me that there was, that I was proactive about reaching out to the police chief, and he indicated to me that he'll make sure that the two community police officers will be available to the residents, and there'll be plenty of coverage throughout the borough. They're there to be able to respond if anything needed to be responded to. Certainly, I looked into that, but I thank you for your concern.
The concern is that two police officers were pulled off the road. The concern is that two police officers were pulled off the road needlessly for several hours. And while they're well prepared and they are experts in this area, and it was a great idea, it wasn't advertised properly, so they can take advantage of the time that they put in. Okay, moving on, now I'd like to take the reports of some of the departments, and I believe I see Karen Intile up there. Ms. Intile?
Good evening, everybody. I would just like to hit on some nice events that have happened already in the community and events that are coming up. First of all, I always have to say this, I'm sorry that I get boring. We've got a lot of donations for our food pantry, and I just have to thank all the great groups that have given us monetary or just food in general. The most recent, I mean, it's constant, it's the churches, it's the schools, it's the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts residents, but we got a very nice contribution from the Roselle Park Rotary Club a couple weeks ago of gift cards for ShopRite, and that goes a long way because sometimes we don't have what people need, and if we give them a gift card, I've had several people start crying, so it's a good thing, but it's really a good thing. And also, this past Saturday, the National Letter Carriers had a food drive. So, of course, Roselle Park mail carriers were involved, and they came to the Cassano Center and dropped off the food they collected between 3 and 6. So we were there on Saturday to get a lot of nice food. The Cub Scouts held their mother-son annual dinner. They always have that the Friday before Mother's Day, and it was very nice. It's a very sweet event, and I'm glad they have it at the Cassano Center. It's a great event, so that was lovely. And the Roselle Park Girl Scouts are holding their cupcake decorating contest on Saturday, June 7th at the Cassano Center from 9 a.m. to 12:30. Now, to discuss a little bit more in depth about the Memorial Day Parade, this flyer has been approved by School Superintendent Marito, so I will be putting this in the schools early next week. It tells the route of the parade, which is from Sherman School along Grant, newly and wonderfully paved, to Chestnut Street to the Veterans Memorial Library. There will be a reviewing stand in front of Dr. Parker's. We figured out the logistics. And then the service will be at the front lawn of the Veterans Memorial Library. And then our townwide picnic should start around 12:30, because you got to give me time to get from the service, make sure everything's in place at the center. So we'll say around 12:30 to about 2:30, 3 o'clock. And we have live music and free food at the picnic. And I just have to say this, the picnic, because there's several groups that are helping to sponsor the cost. I just want to put it out there that, of course, the Borough of Roselle Park is sponsoring it, but we also have the Roselle Park Community Center Association, the Roselle Park Education Association, and Cornell Hall is helping. So thank you to everybody that's involved with Memorial Day. Hopefully it's the start of a new thing, and some old new things. Also coming up, car shows. I have questions for you, but I'll ask you that at a later date. But I need some confirmation on some things so that I can get everything out there to the public as far as concerning the car show. But the dates are definitely Saturday, June 21st, with the rain date being the following Saturday. and definitely Saturday, September 13th, with the rain date being the following Saturday. And we have DJ Hot Rod Mike, who is a DJ for the cruisers. He brings a lot of cars, he brings a lot of a crowd, so it's going to be a good shows. Again, the July fireworks will fall on July 3rd. And I wanted to bring it, and I forgot it. The new revised yellow trifold service pamphlet is now out in all the borough buildings. So any residents that want to get some new updated information, you can come to the library, the Casano Center, Borough Hall, and it should be there. I think DPW has them too. Let's see what we have here. I'm sorry. We have a nutrition program at the center every Tuesday. It's really from the county nutrition program, Meals on Wheels, and their nutrition program. And because we have this program, we have to have volunteers trained to work in the kitchen from the Board of Health. They would let the Board of Health requires this. So 2 of my volunteers just recently went the end of April, and now they are certified for 2 years, so we're food safe again. We have an Older Americans brunch tomorrow. Sunrise Diner is catering it, and because the Roselle Park Education Association helped sponsor it, tickets were only $5 per person, and we're having scrambled eggs and French toast and sausage and bacon and regular toast. So it should be very nice, and everybody's looking forward to it all. Everybody's waiting tomorrow, they're hungry already. And Hunterton Hills is our trip on September 18th with the town bus, the bus that's provided by the town. It's a 48-passenger bus, and we're going to see Breaking Legs. And we have the ongoing Westfield Board of Health come and do our blood pressure reading at the Castano Center between 10:30 and 11:30 on the last Tuesday of the month. I also just received tickets to the PNC Arts Center. It's through the Garden State Arts Foundation. I'm sorry to say today's was the Texas Tenors, so that's over with. I got 20 tickets of each one, and they're free. The next one is May 22nd, the Letterman. And the next one is June 3rd, the Cameos and the Duprees. So if anybody's interested in the Letterman or the Cameos and the Duprees, I have tickets available.
What are the dates?
Okay, the Letterman, May 22nd, that's a Thursday. You have to get down there by 1:30. And the Cameos and the Duprees is a Tuesday, June 3rd, again 1:30. Rain or shine on both of them.
Election day.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments?
For the Memorial Day Parade, are we going to make East Grand no parking for the morning?
That's an excellent question because I already reached out to the police department to ask them if they were going to put no parking signs on Sherman, East Grant, and Chestnut. I haven't gotten a confirmation yet.
Okay. We haven't.
We didn't do it. I mean, if you want to do it, you can do it, but it wasn't done before when I was on.
It's probably something that should be decided tonight if it's going to happen.
Where was the, I'm sorry, I just don't remember. Where was the previous Memorial Day Parade? Was it the same route? Same route?
It was the same route.
Sherman
And they
to Chestnut, make a right?
They didn't used to stop the parking on the road.
Is there,
The road's going to be blocked. So,
Can I just suggest, I don't know,
Run by the chief, run by the chief. It's a safety issue.
So as a council, we're going to approve the chief making a decision due to safety precautions. If it's necessary, he can put up no parking signs. Is that correct? Is anybody opposed to that?
would that be along the whole route?
Again, it's up to the chief to decide.
I'll send the chief a text or an email and just say, tell me what you think.
My thought was to organize the parade itself. I was going to try to use Sherman along the school, and it might make it a little easier if there weren't any cars parked there, at least just that one group, that one section, because you're going to have, I think, some units parked in the school grounds, and they're going to want to come out and get put in the right order. And
All right,
if there's quite a big group if everybody shows this year.
I will ask him to review, and once he's made a determination, he'll just speak to you, and whatever, if it's only going to be one section that he feels and you both feel need to be blocked off, and that's what we'll do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So we'll go around the horn. Our chief counsel, Rich Hudson.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, Council, there's a lot of litigation going out there this week for the courts to get back to us on the 5, 6 matters. So I don't have any report as to concluded matters. I do, unfortunately, have 7 matters for a closed session.
We had none last time.
No, I'm fine. They'll be quick. 7. Possible litigation, Rook versus Roselle Park. Possible litigation, Genie's Fitness versus Roselle Park. Ongoing litigation, Selecti versus the Borough of Roselle Park. Ongoing litigation, Stender versus Roselle Park. Ongoing litigation, equipment rental service versus Roselle Park. Equipment rental. Potential litigation, Gottschalk versus Roselle Park. Gottschalk, Gottschalk. Gottschalk. And the matter of State versus Reinhardt, which the borough is the state.
It's possible litigation.
Existing litigation. And Mayor, I'm sorry, there is one other matter, the possible sale of borough property.
And that would be negotiations.
Negotiations, my apologize, is number 8.
Thank you. Okay, before he comes up with anything else, I can move on. Our borough clerk, Mr. Ray Cowan.
There's just one matter I wanted to bring to the mayor's attention, an ordinance. On the agenda, 2 ordinances actually. The 2407 is the borough-wide amendment to the borough-wide garage sale, chapter, section 268.8A. That's only going to permit the addition of the authority to issue a permit at the library, which wasn't included in the past in the ordinance. So this will permit the Friends of the Library to sell items at the front lawn of the library. And the second item is a house cleaning item. It's going to authorize the borough to amend the deed or refile the deed for the property from the Joint Sewer Rural Valley Sewerage Authority property back in 19... It's very old. Yes, it's around 1930. The deed wasn't recorded properly, so
1932.
all this allows is that the deed is going to be refiled. And that will correct that error of it not being recorded in the county. And that's all I have here.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Questions, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
Or Madam Clerk and First Ward. Bulk is around the corner. Is the letter getting ready to go out to let the people know the do's and don'ts?
Sure will do so this week.
Okay. And number 2, we brought up about the office space for elected officials.
Yes, sir.
The letter or letters went out,
Yes, sir.
and it's to everybody.
It actually went out to Payne, Bramnick, Muniz, Booker,
Any?
Brant Menendez, and one more.
Okay.
Okay, but yes, it went out to every
President of the
local.
United States.
Well, one more I have to send to the governor. That's what I missed, the governor and the president.
Okay. Thank you. That was another thing that was brought up to me.
Thank you.
Pardon me? Okay.
Next up is our Chief Financial Officer.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder, as was mentioned earlier, the final wrap-up for capital will be Tuesday, May 27th at 6 p.m. upstairs in the conference room. And I'd like to thank everybody, the governing body and the department heads for all their hard work and input in getting this budget put together this year.
Thank you, and thank you for all your efforts.
Ken, I apologize, I missed one more thing. I was going to read this as well, and actually if the council's okay, if you're okay with it. The New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection will be reimbursing up to $1,000 to municipalities towards the purchase of radon test devices. There's a whole application that needs to be submitted. I'm willing to take on the application and fill it out. Give a copy to the clerk prior to mailing it out to make sure there aren't any things that need to be updated, but it is on a first come, first serve, so I think it's worth a shot. Basically, there's a number of provisions. They give up to $1,000, so whatever amount of money, if we get anything, we'll be able to purchase the devices. They'll reimburse us. We'll be able to distribute it to the public. First come, first serve. I just think it's a good initiative to look into as well, and I will bring it up also. I'll share it with Councilman Kelly, so I could share it with the fire department as well.
Is there, just for clarity, is there any matching funds required?
I don't believe so. From reading through this, it didn't look that way. I think it's just up to $1,000 that they've allocated some funds available. But thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to make the motion to approve the reports of the departments.
Second.
Absolutely. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Reports of departments are hereby accepted. Before we go to the public comment portion, I'd like to make my comments for this evening. First, as I said earlier, today was a sad day for me. I was remembering a family friend, Staff Sergeant Paul Sweeney, who really was a Special Forces hero, died in the line of duty in Afghanistan at the outset of the war. So I hope everybody, when you go home tonight, remember not just Sergeant Sweeney, but all of the young men and women who have served our nation overseas over the years. And let's ramp it up for Memorial Day. Sergeant Sweeney's plaque is on the statue at Veterans Memorial Park. I'm sorry, Veterans Memorial Library, and it's a sad day for him. I want to talk about some of the things that make Roselle Park great. I keep on saying that I really love this town. There's some things that go unnoticed that have been happening over the course of the past 2 or 3 years. Councilman Hokinson has gotten involved in several committees, and we have some other residents that are involved in some committees such as the Air Traffic Noise Advisory Committee. About 2 years ago, the routing of the aircraft out of Newark Airport was changed. That way, instead of 4 out of every 5 planes flying over Roselle Park, approximately 2 out of every 5 planes was flying over Roselle Park because of the routing situation. There were 5 separate routes that were available out of Newark Airport. Since that time, they've reduced it to about 1 out of every 5 planes flying out of Newark Airport. There will still be some airplane noise, but the noise has been reduced drastically over the past 2 years, and it's just one of those things that you don't notice until somebody points it out to you. So this summer, when you're sitting outdoors, I ask you to listen and see if you can hear the birds, and see if you can hear street traffic instead of airplane traffic. It's something that's been reduced drastically. The same thing has happened with the trains. There were 2 initiatives that I approached New Jersey Transit about that they had acted on. At the beginning of my term, in 2010, there had been 2 fatalities along the Raritan Valley line on the train tracks in Roselle Park. And as a result, the engineers on the trains would pull on the horns as they were approaching Roselle Park and continue to hold on to the horn for an extended period of time. And it's something that at some point you become acclimated to, but people that came from out of town noticed the train going through it at 9 o'clock at night, blowing that horn, was problematic. Well, since that time, the engineers have had retraining. Their equipment stops in a shorter distance because there's new equipment now. and therefore they're not going to be pulling on those horns as extensively as they had been previously. The other thing that New Jersey Transit has done is they've repaired the tracks between Union and Cranford, so that way you hear less of the clacking that you normally would hear, especially when the freight trains go through. These are the things that are endearing about Roselle Park, but are also annoying to people that sit there in the backyards and they hear all those noises, and the things that are changing slowly. They haven't eliminated all the noise, but New Jersey Transit has cooperated with us to try to eliminate some of the noise and make Roselle Park a lot more livable. One of the ordinances that's on this evening's agenda is the feral cat ordinance. Some people see the feral cat community as a nuisance, other people see them as cute animals. And there's any range of emotions that are associated with the feral cats in our community. I have to tell you, I'm a tree lover, I'm an animal lover, and it's very difficult to approach these situations to try to get everybody on the same sheet of music. Not everybody sees things the same way. It has a different effect on them. This evening we're most likely going to approve an ordinance that addresses the feral cat situation. I don't think it covers all the bases. I think there are some issues with it, but it's something that Councilman Hokinson has been working very hard at, trying to get input from all the sides that he can get to make sure that Roselle Park is that loving community that cares about the neighbors and cares about the animals, cares about everything. We're a caring community. I understand there's a lot of people here this evening. I'm assuming that a lot of you will be coming up to make your comments. I don't want to discourage anybody from saying anything that you feel necessary to say, but I would ask you to just keep in mind we're all neighbors. We're trying to do the right thing for the right reasons, but we have a responsibility to everybody. We have a responsibility to those who would like to see absolutely nothing go on and let the cats run wild. We have a responsibility to those who want to do it responsibly and spay and neuter and make sure that any feral cats that exist right now are treated properly for their lifespans. And then we have those who have concerns about the health situation with the feral cat community and any wild animal community in our town. So I just ask you all to be respectful to each other. Please recognize that one of the things that makes Roselle Park the great place that it is the variety of opinions and variety of views. We are a melting pot of people, we are a melting pot of views and opinions, we are a melting pot of personalities, and that's what I love about Roselle Park. So please just keep that in mind this evening when you're coming out for your public comment portion. And that will conclude my comments for this evening, other than to say I truly do love Roselle Park, and I know that this is going to be the right thing. Do I hear a motion to open the public comment portion?
Yes, Mayor. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to open the public portion of the meeting. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Public comment portion is now open. Anyone wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address, and tell us what's on your mind. And I think our poet laureate is the first person to step up.
I want to come before all the cats. Leona Suford, 22 East Westfield Avenue. I'm here to announce two events that are coming up. Next Wednesday, May 21st, from 6:30 to 8 p.m., the Casano Community Center Art Gallery will host a reception for Willa Goldway Brown, the artist of the current exhibit Straw House. And June is just around the corner, which means the Church of the Assumption's St. Anthony's Italian Feast will return. This will be from Thursday, June 5th through Sunday, June 8th. There's fun for everyone with rides, games, food, 50-50 raffle, and a street procession after the 12 noon Mass on Sunday the 8th. For information, call 908-245-1107. And it's also not too late to enter the Summer in Roselle Park photo contest. We're looking for photos of Roselle Park in the summer. Entries will be part of an exhibit in June at the Casano Community Center Art Gallery. Deadline to enter is June 11th. You have to be a resident. Call 908-241-5874 for details. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak? speak, please step forward, state your name and address, close to
Can I just clarify? Folks, this is the public portion, not anything, I mean, the thing about the cats will be coming up shortly. So this is, not that I want to deprive you of your right to speak, but it's...
Again, people can speak about the
Yes.
feral cat ordinance, but we do have a public hearing
Yeah.
when we do the feral cat ordinance, so whatever you wish to do. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's not about the cats, though I love cats. So Elizabeth Kirsten, 150 Berwyn Street, Roselle Park. I am a library board trustee for the Roselle Park Veterans Memorial Library, and since Andrew and you were not able to make it last night, I wanted to ask 2 questions and follow up to a conversation we had with Andrew previous month in regards to the installation of the automatic doors at the Roselle Public Library. We're just wondering when that is actually going to occur.
We need to, they're in the capital budget, which we're going to have our final meeting on the 27th. Once the capital budget's adopted, there's an estoppel period of 20 days. Once we've adopted the ordinance and the estoppel period is run out, that money can be utilized. So at that point, we would be able to move forward.
And who would be scheduling the setup of the installation?
That would be through DPW, I'm imagining.
Which was that one?
Right,
I think that's DPW.
right.
And
So I'm sorry. I would imagine that our superintendent of public works would arrange the scheduling for when the contractor, whoever would need to come.
And that wouldn't require approval of the library board, would it?
No, but I mean, we would act in coordination to make sure that it doesn't.
Okay, so we're probably looking at early fall because our last meeting for the summer is in June, and if you're saying it's taking 20 days, maybe.
I would imagine, yes, probably the fall would be good.
And then
It
what-
doesn't require the library board's approval,
Oh, okay.
so they don't need to be
That's great.
talking about it.
Really good.
We've already established that they definitely want the doors.
So we're looking forward to it. And the other one is in regards to the sprinkler system. I'm assuming that also is in addition to when the approval of the capital budget
Also
goes through.
capital.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Good night.
Anyone else wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address, close to time.
Robert Dines, 160 Drone Street, Roselle Park. Dines, D-E-N-A-I-S, Robert. I've lived in my area for a lot of years, over 60 years, and rarely have I gotten water down in my basement. What's happened over the years, there used to be a lot of open area where I lived. What's happened over the years is there's a lot of construction, whether in my area, and even down by 7-Eleven and all these areas, and they're covering up all the impervious surface, creating big drainage problems in my area. I think it's time for the town to get real serious, like Cranford does, when you watch their meeting, about enacting laws regarding construction, small, large construction that's going to go on, whether people put additions to their houses, pave things, because they're covering over this area and they're really throwing a lot of water on other people's property. And I know the borough engineer isn't here, but I think it's really important at this point, as the town enters areas of large construction, it's just going to back up these sewers even more.
I can tell you that there are ordinances and codes on the books that require a certain percentage of any property to be uncovered so that way the water can flow properly. And there have been applications with the Municipal Land Use Board for simple things like patio pavers that have been turned down because they didn't meet those requirements. So the borough does actively pursue any case that comes to our attention. If there has been any illegal construction that's gone on, if there has been any area that's been paved over inappropriately, please bring it to our attention. I can't remember what the percentage is of a surface that's required to be pervious or permeable. I just don't remember what that percentage is, but there is a certain percentage on every property that's supposed to allow drainage.
But when any of this construction is taking place, the borough engineer should really look at it with the effect on the whole town. Because it's only going to get worse, because, Roselle Park's a small town, infrastructure's old. And so I think it's really time, if you look at Cranford's meetings, before they go over an inch or 6 inches, they really take that into consideration. I'm just throwing it out there. Our infrastructure's old, the town is only a certain size, and I really think that we should start really considering, stricter laws and legislation. Secondly, I want to talk about this last storm we had. Very early in the storm, my sanitary sewer line backed up. And I told you I lived there a long time. And previously, the only time that sewer line has backed up is when the storm sewers have gone, covered the street, and the water infiltrated through the manholes. And I can understand that. The infrastructure's old, they're not perfect, they're very, very early in the storm, before anybody to dump anything into the line or anything. I contacted the DPW, he told me to investigate what happened. I don't know if he spoke to the engineer, he was very nice. He had a couple of possibilities. He thought maybe Carpenter Place, the manholes were breached. Somewhere up the line happened. But something very peculiar happened during this last storm. Very, very early in the storm, the sanitary sewer line was coming up through the drains on Valley, Jerome, and so forth. So I really think you really look into that, because if it happened that time, it was early in the storm, something breached that sanitary sewer line. And the water was not over the street. I went out twice, and I looked over the street, and the sewers were perfectly clear running down. So that's just something else I'd like you to find out what happened, because something very unusual happened in that area.
Well, certainly speak to the engineer to check it out. One of the things that we've done, RVSA serves your area. That's the sewerage authority that serves your area. We get the meter readings for the sewage flow on a regular basis. And we have a separate storm drain system and sewer system in Roselle Park. It's a community that, when they developed the sewer system, we decided to do it that way so that we don't dump raw sewage into the rivers, and you also cheapen the cost of eliminating storm drainage. The reason why the streets didn't flood immediately, likely, is because we've worked on improvements to the storm sewer, the storm drains. And the water's flowing quicker into Roselle. The Cranford side is a different story, because they have a whole bunch of issues with the repumping station and with water flowing from Springfield. They actually cleared a river in Springfield early on, which then caused a surge into Cranford and the Valley Road area. But that addresses the storm water that goes into the storm drains. What's happening with the sewer system, and we did a study to find out, is that too many people have their sump pumps connected into the sewer lines instead of draining out into the street. And what happens then is all of a sudden you get a surge of water going into a sewer line that can't hold it all. And the pressure builds, and eventually it pops up through people's basements. The way that we know that this was happening was because we get the sewer meter readings, and we know how much water flows normally through the sewer lines, and all of a sudden we had 5.4 inches of rain in a matter of 2 hours that evening, which every time I sit up here and one of these things happen, I end up saying, the worst rainstorm ever. That it was 5.4 inches of rain, and it was the worst rainstorm in a short period of time in the past 25 years. And all the water is being pumped back into the sewer lines, which caused pressure to build up, and the breaches that you were experiencing. The solution to that is everybody out there needs to know you can't have your sump pump connected to the sewer lines. It's causing problems community-wide. Sure, it's a lot easier to take your sump pump and hook it into your sewer line, It doesn't cause the problem of having a line going out towards the street, but the reality is that you're causing neighbors problems. So we ask you to please disconnect any illegally hooked up sump pumps and pump the water outdoors instead of pumping, and the gutters going into the sewer line. So that's exactly what happened.
But let's take into consideration what I said about enacting some real thing against drainage and flooding, because it's only going to get worse. If people build bigger houses, make additions, this new construction plan, which is great for the town, but you've got an old sewer system, they can only handle so much. So before the engineer approves it, let's make a really great drainage plan.
Every application for construction is reviewed for drainage and sewage. Every.
If I can just add, we had some problems in the second ward, also with people who, like yourself, did not have a history of these kinds of problems, with this last storm. And I know that there will be a meeting on Friday, and they're going to, the engineer is going to be looking, talking with DPW. They're going to be looking at possibilities. There is nothing right now that seems, really obvious for the problem, but they will be investigating. It is being addressed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address, and tell us what's on your mind.
Good evening. I'm Mayor and Council. I just have a quick question. My name is Georgette Hendrickson, 350 East Westfield Avenue. I won't tell you the apartment. Anyway, I have a really quick question. I know that the Westfield Avenue is under construction. However, there's going to be, and maybe possibly me, because it looks like they've covered or repaved whatever they did to dig it out. There's gullies in every situation, and I don't know whether you have noticed, but in order to drive, you got to go like this because it wrecks your car. Is this going to be improved? I mean, are they finished, or?
There are two things going on with regard to the ruts on Westfield Avenue, mostly on the
Going towards the parkway.
The westbound side.
Right.
American Water did a bunch of upgrades to our service over the past year and a half. As far as the Grant Avenue project, one of the reasons why that took so long was because American Water came in and did their repairs at the same time, so that when we paved it, they wouldn't have to tear it up again 6 months later.
Right.
Westfield Avenue has been an ongoing project. If you look, what you'll see is a main spot where a big hole is dug and they replace the main, and then you see perpendicular to that opening lines going towards the sidewalk from the middle of the street, which is the service for each one of those buildings along the way. Their work, I don't know if it's completely done yet. They were out there Wednesday, and I spoke to them then. American Water is responsible for doing the repairs. And I happen to ride in a car that's low to the ground, so I know exactly what you're talking about. I feel every bump, and I've actually had to replace tires. I'm not going to say it's because of Westfield Avenue. It's because of potholes this year all over the state. I drive all over the place, and on Westfield Avenue. But American Water is responsible for doing the repairs there. I've spoken to American Water. I've asked the borough clerk, DPW, and the engineer to get in touch not just with American Water, but also with the state of New Jersey, who owns Route 28, Westfield Avenue, and ask them to take a look at what repairs need to be made so that way we don't have future problems on the street. What's happened is normally when a repair like that is done, they'll fill it in, top it off, and let it settle. The purpose of it is so that way the ground underneath settles because it has to compact before they can finalize it. But it's at the point where it's settled way too much. I agree with you. I've gotten other phone calls, other emails, and other text messages about it. I promise you that we are working on it. And American Water and the state hopefully will have a solution for us imminently. Although I haven't spoken to them specifically about what that solution is.
Okay, so it's not finished, I mean, it has to be resurfaced.
Oh, it's not staying like that, no.
Okay, because last year they did the whole thing, and it was beautiful, and they, now it's got to be all done again. I mean,
Right.
they just throw money, keep throwing money into this.
I think part of it is also that they're going to mill and pave. That was my understanding from American Water.
Really?
So they're going to mill and pave
Okay.
Westfield Avenue, or where they're fixing. So they're probably not throwing a whole lot of money in the patches that they did.
I see, okay.
That's my guess, although I have my own feelings about American Water based on the horrible things they've done on the side streets. But they did tell us that they would mill and pave, so yes, this is going to be fixed.
American Water has always been responsive when we've gone to them, but then unresponsive when there's a problem, leading up to us going to them. So it's been a very weird situation.
I know it's a struggle, but I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
I just wanted to bring it to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address, and tell us what time you want.
Carol Manzimas, 289 West Webster Avenue. I just want to thank Karen from the Casano Center for everything she does, and she didn't ask, but she's looking for some convertibles for our Memorial Day parade to be able to transport the veterans who are a little bit old and not able to walk too long. So, if anybody have an old convertible, call Karen. All right, thank you.
Thank you. She's not looking for donations of convertibles, she's just looking for just saying. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address, and tell us what time you want.
Jacob McGarrett, 612 Sheridan Avenue, Roselle Parkway, St. the audience, viewing audience, members of council, good evening. Just a reminder, it's a full moon tonight. To the chair, a comment. In free governments, the rulers are the servants, and the people are their superiors. Benjamin Franklin, 1782. To the chair, thank you for mentioning air traffic noise. This has been an ongoing thing with the Union County Air Traffic Noise Advisory Board, which I had been a member of many years ago, and for many, many years. Yes, the noise is subsiding a little bit. That's what's happening. To the chair, comment. People commented on it. West Westfield Avenue is becoming the new East Grand Avenue. Question to the chair. Does Roselle Park have an ordinance for opening state roads and state highways? To the chair, to the borough attorney. Is there an update on Occidental Chemical? In May 7th, EPA extends the Safe River cleanup comment period. To the chair, the chief financial officer, I gave you a copy of zero municipal tax hike up for debate in West Orange. Your opinion?
Okay, I'll address some of them. First of all, with regard to the zero tax hike that you're referring to, if we thought that that were the best approach, we would have done it. And you're right, we work for the residents, and we try to do what's in everybody's best interest. The reason why it's imprudent to do that is because historically, my perception is, for example, when you were on council, things were always put off till the future and let somebody else deal with the problem. And it's really easy to not spend money and put it off for 3, 4, 5 years and let somebody else deal with it. This council has chosen instead to address the issues. For example, East Grant Avenue, which you mentioned, had an infrastructure that was the oldest infrastructure in the community, 100 years old. But it had been put off and put off and put off, and the reason why is because it was a hugely difficult project. The structures that were being worked on were 25 feet below the road surface, and it was hugely expensive. And the way that we decided to go about it was to do it in phases so that we could get matching funds and try to make sure that we didn't break the bank for the residents of the community. But we were responsible in doing it because the street was collapsing. And that's what we tried to do. It's the responsible thing to do for the benefit of the community. It's responsible to do that today. We could have put that off and potentially not increase taxes as much as been increased or bonded out as much as has been bonded out. It is the irresponsible thing to do. So I'm not exactly sure what the news article reads about West Orange. I can tell you what we see in our budget, and I think it's a responsible budget that addresses our needs without overspending, but without pushing on some projects that need to be addressed now rather than putting it off for somebody else to worry about in the future. If you have a house that needs repairs and you continue to put it off, the whole house decays around it. We are doing the right thing by doing the repairs as they're required. You wanted an update on Occidental, I guess, versus New Jersey DEP, or New Jersey DEP versus Occidental, which we're looking for.
Mr. Major, you're correct. The time for comments have been extended. There really is no update. The borough has entered into a settlement agreement that was previously indicated to you and the public previously. We're just waiting for the court's final decision on that settlement.
And it's not EPA, it's New Jersey DEP. It's the state agency, not the federal agency. EPA may be taking comments, but it's the New Jersey DEP case. Okay. And then the last item that you were asking a question about is there an ordinance for opening roads in New Jersey? And yes, we do have an ordinance now. The state is not bound by our ordinances. And Route 28 is a state road. The ordinance basically addresses newly paved streets. You can't open a newly paved street. Portions of Westfield Avenue may have been paved 4 or 5 years ago, but I don't think anything has been paved in the past 2 years. There was a big PSE&G project down on Westfield Avenue several years ago that resulted in PSE&G doing a repaving job, and we hope that American Water addresses it the same way that PSE&G did.
Thank you. And just a question, to the chair. Mr. Mayor, can you name some items that the 1989-1991 council, when I sat, what did we spend money on? Refresh my memory.
I can tell you that you spent money on councilmen who never take a pay cut, even though you constantly come up here telling us to take a pay cut.
At that time, we were making $2,000 a year compared to the $13,000 you were making prior to my requesting.
I don't think I
council take a 10% pay cut.
I don't
Ladies
think
and gentlemen in the audience, viewing audience, members of council, good evening.
I don't think I've ever made $13,000 from the borough.
Mayor, I would also just like to note two quick things. For road openings, the other thing that our ordinance does is provide for some notice for residents, so regardless of whether it's a local, county, or state road, if a utility company or contractor is going to open the road, they need to notify the residents that will be affected. This came in wake of what I said previously about the American Water situation that we had last year. residents were having their water turned off in the morning or at night, and they weren't being turned on until the next morning, and we just found it to be unacceptable, so we changed it to make sure that regardless of what road it is, if it's going to be opened and affect residents, and they will be notified. I did also, in addition, want to note about that article about the West Orange 0%. Yes, they have a 0% increase to their tax levy. However, their valuation changed. So the argument between two members of that governing body was, on one side they said, well, the tax levy didn't change, so there's no increase in taxes. However, if the valuation went down, that means some residents, all residents, will be paying more. And that is also the crux of the argument with the reval. Some will go up, some will go down. But everyone, the community as a whole, is going to be paying the same amount of money. It depends on how it's distributed amongst the taxpayers, whether it's residential, industrial, or business district. So I just wanted to note that.
Thank you. I'd also like to make one more comment. During the time you were a councilman, I actually made an investment in a stock that I paid about $3 a share through stock splits, dividends, and increase in prices. That $3 a share stock is probably worth about $350 or $400 a share right now. It's interesting how things increase exponentially in price over the years.
Philip Pearson, 150 Berlin Street. Not to belabor this back and forth for nonsense, but I actually did do research on the $2,000. Would it come out to just be $7,000? Just to put things on the record and factual. For the salary that Mr. McGarris that he was getting. My quick question is regarding the actual budget. That has not been voted on, correct?
Yes.
That has been voted on.
We adopted.
Resolution 110?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so the public hearing on the amendment was read, and then the budget was passed?
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure about that. And just, I guess, for my clarification, Resolution 10914, it's just a correction in the date, correct?
Yes.
Because this is, instead of July 1st, it can't be
Right.
August 1st. Okay, thank you.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Joey Alvo, and I reside at 101 West Colfax Avenue, Roselle Park.
I'm sorry, what's your last name?
Alamo, A-L-A-M-O. I recognize that there is a specific time in this hearing in regards to talking about the feral cat community in TNR, but it's gone late and I have school tomorrow, so I'm just going to use this time to address my position now. I appreciate the Mayor and Council's empathy for our concerns regarding the feral cat community. I just want to reiterate my position one last time. I want to bring awareness to our current practices regarding the feral cats in our town and to support TNR, trap, neuter, return. Why TNR? Because trap, kill, and starving the cats is just plain cruel and an ineffective method in reducing the number of kittens born outside. TNR is a program that educates the public of the importance of spaying and neutering our pets. If a person has a cat or two in their backyard and they feed it, our current practices state that you cannot do so and it is a crime to be compassionate. When in reality, the crime is that there is not enough education regarding feral cats and the need to have them spayed and neutered. And that our cats and kittens are brought into our shelters to be killed. Why? Just because they were born outside. These animals are homeless due to the irresponsible acts of humans. They are abandoned and left to fend for themselves. A feral cat colony begins with 1 or 2 cats that are abandoned by a human. The cats cannot control how many cats will be produced. To end this cycle, our society needs to take responsibility. These animals need to be spayed and neutered, and laws need to be enacted to care for these abandoned animals. There needs to be more laws that support TNR, trap, neuter, return, and allow these animals to live and be fed on designated properties, rather than the current laws that forbid feeding of these animals, rendering them to a slow death by starvation or a fast death when trapped, traumatized, and brought to a shelter. I encourage everyone to become more educated and involved in humane alternatives when addressing our feral cat population. I promise you we have nothing to lose, only much to gain from these creatures labeled feral. Lastly, I just want to know that killing of these animals is not a solution, and even if it is, it's clearly not a working one if we are still addressing this problem, despite our current practices. And I also have a petition, a small petition that was signed in support of the team, if you want to look at it. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your patience this evening.
If I may just, I understand that you have been honored by your high school.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations on being named valedictorian for the Union County.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name, address, tell us what's on your mind.
Okay, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Public portion of the meeting is hereby closed. Council President, we have minutes to be approved this evening.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that the minutes be approved pending any corrections.
Second.
Are there any comments or corrections to the minutes from the May 1st, 2014 meeting? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion hereby approved. Do you have a motion on bills and payrolls?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that bills and payrolls be not read and passed for payment. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Bills and payrolls are hereby approved for payment. Madam Clerk, I believe we have several ordinances on this evening. Can we start with ordinance 2403? You can read that by title only.
Ordinance 2403 is an ordinance permitting the managed care of feral cats in the borough of Roselle Park.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion that a public hearing on ordinance number 2403 be open.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The public hearing portion on ordinance 2403 is now open. Anyone wishing to speak on ordinance 2403 and the ordinance 2403 only, please step forward, state your name, address, and over time.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Amy Marie Keller, 550 East Grant Avenue, Roselle Park. TNR is the only ethical, humane, and responsible solution to the current feral cat situation here in Roselle Park. TNR costs the taxpayer nothing. All TNR work would be done on a volunteer basis. Currently, taxpayers are held responsible for paying animal control to transfer any stray cat to Woodbridge, which is a kill facility. Residents have mentioned in the past that they are concerned about feral cats transmitting rabies. With TNR, the volunteer caretakers and veterinarians would vaccinate all feral cats for rabies when they are brought in to be neutered. Neutering these cats will cause a dramatic decrease in the town's feral population. Not only will reproduction cease, any of the cats who are friendly enough to be adoptable will be adopted out by the volunteers. Feral cats that have been neutered and vaccinated will be identifiable by the surgical tipping of their ear. There is an added benefit to this system, which many have not considered. Lost pet cats that appear in the area a TNR volunteer is caring for would recognize the new, untipped cat as either a new feral or a lost pet, and in either case would help trap it, helping to reunite lost pets with their owners. As for the local bird populations some have mentioned, cats are by far not the leading cause of bird depopulation. That honor goes to the overuse of pesticides including bug sprays and lawn chemicals, as well as to chewing gum. Yes, chewing gum spit out that birds then ingest. More information about all of this can be found at alleycatallies.org, the nation's top advocacy group for stray and feral cats. Cats also help keep the number of disease-carrying mice and rats at bay, talking about things like hantavirus and plague there. In February, Alley Cat Allies sent out a nationwide alert about Roselle Park. This is because of the negative response TNR has gotten in the town, especially at meetings. Because of this publicity, Roselle Park became known overnight as a hotspot of heartlessness and animal cruelty. It was even Googleable at the time, and may still be. I have heard an argument that having feral cats around lowers property values. Not so. But being nationally known for animal cruelty will surely make people not want to move here. I have also heard people complaining about not wanting cats in their yard. That's an easy one to fix. Put coffee grounds, or cayenne pepper, or even pepper spray at the edges and around the area you don't want the cats to go to. It's just that easy to keep them out of your yard. Let's do the right thing. Vote yes to pass the TNR ordinance. Let's bring back some park pride. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name, address, tell us what's on your mind.
Carol Langzinas, 289 West Webster Avenue. Okay, I was able to attend one workshop, and I believe the one presenter was from Hillside, and the other, I never did get an address or town. They claim there are 2,000 cats, feral cats, in Roselle Park. I just don't know where that statistic is coming from, because having done some research, towns our size doesn't come anywhere near that. I still have great concerns with this ordinance. I don't want to seem heartless, but I think human value to me is more important than any animal. When they say no expense to the taxpayer, I've already had to remove several shrubs from my property because I can't get the smell out of them. So you have to remove them and destroy them. We were also told there are things that you can buy to keep them off your property. That's a cost to a taxpayer. The ordinance, as I see it, has unlimited feeding during daylight hours. That could be up to 12 hours. Would I, as a resident or a taxpayer, be able to go there and make sure that there's a caregiver there for the 12-hour period? I just don't. There's so many other things that Roselle Park needs to address, and I don't want to sound heartless, but this is not one we want to go with. If it's such a great program, I don't know why they don't have one in Hillside or Galway or anywhere else in Union County. Finally, if it's passed, will there be total transparency as far as reporting? Will residents be able to see the reports of how many cats have been trapped, maybe been returned? Kitten population, how many volunteers? Is it going to be one colony, which I understand is going to be one colony, but I'm not sure about that. And as far as cleanup, I still don't like the 48 hours. I do know of one town in New Jersey, Morristown. They have approximately 50 caregivers who are on call, literally on call 24/7. So if you do have a problem, call. There are numbers listed for residents. Who is going to be ultimately responsible to get those phone calls if there should arise any problems? The other thing I was thinking of, is there a way of doing a 3 to 6 month test period for an ordinance to see how it's working and if it is working, and then give it a final approval? I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Maria Samajopoulos. My name is Baba. S-A-M-A-D-J. S-A-M-A-D-J-O-P-O-U-L-O-S. And I reside at 101 West Colfax Avenue. There is a lack of education of feral cats, and there is a constant debate regarding TNR. And frankly, I don't know why this is so. Our current practices do not and have not been effective in reducing our feral cat concerns. It is very important to note that TNR does not bring the cats to our communities and backyards. The cats are already there. TNR is a program that educates the public and allows us to take responsibility in reducing the births outside and the senseless killing of our feral cats. People ask me, why do I support TNR? I can only show you. This is why. This is what happens daily. Kittens and feral cats, they're brought into a shelter, they're killed. Even a feral kitten, or even a domesticated kitten, is killed. That information is not provided. We're not taught, we're not told this information, and I don't know why. Our public is not informed or educated that bringing a cat, especially a feral cat or kitten to a shelter, is a death sentence. And this practice is ineffective. We need to start taking responsibility and educate our community in regards to the humane management of our feral community cats. There are many compassionate people and they don't know what to do when they discover a feral cat in their yard. TNR allows the public to have a plan of action to spay and neuter the cats and reduce the rate of homicide. There is a significant difference between a managed colony and an unmanaged colony. Of course, there are those who don't support TNR, but really, we need to consider why are we against TNR if we are not willing to provide an effective, and if we are not willing to provide an effective humane solution to address our feral cats, then what do the naysayers recommend? Do they have an effective program to address our feral cats, or are they just willing to offer their complaints with no solutions? The naysayers just want to get rid of the cats, but they're there. They have them there. And what we are doing is not working. It's not working. TNR is effective, and it is a humane solution to address our feral cat community. And in regards to answering a question that was posed about having a plan of trying TNR for 3 months. TNR, you do not see the results immediately. It is something that is done so that when it gives someone, if they have a phone call and they say, I have a cat outside, what do I do? Now we have a course of action. Currently, there is no course of action. No one knows what to do, so this cat's left alone to breed, and then we have a huge problem, and then what do? We can address this problem right from the start. If someone makes a phone call and says, I have a cat outside, maybe that cat is friendly and we can get it adopted. If it isn't, then at least we can fix it and tell them how to take care of this cat, and there's no reason why it can't live outside. So I want to thank you for listening to me, and I do hope that you will vote on this because it is effective and it does work.
Thank you, and I apologize, I stepped out during your comments. I hope that the rest of the council heard your comments. I do apologize for that.
Linda Greer, 821 Elm Street. After researching the proposed TNR ordinance 2403 and attending the workshop, I do not feel that this will work. There are no other towns in Union County that have this ordinance. We will be the first. Why do we have to be the first? Shouldn't we wait around and see if other towns have it and it works? There have been other towns in New Jersey that have had it and didn't work. I feel it is not fair to the citizens of Roselle Park that have to have their pets vaccinated and licensed and limited to how many they can have, while these cat colonies will not have to follow any of these rules. When the ordinance was first drafted, it was going to notify residents within a 2-block radius if a cat colony was established. But when it was reworked, that was eliminated. I think it should be in the ordinance. I also believe that as long as you keep feeding these cats, they and other wild animals will keep coming. At some point, it is going to make a bad situation worse. They are not pets. They are wild animals. This ordinance may even hurt the real estate market. Would you want to sell, or would you want to buy a house in Roselle Park if you didn't care for this, having a whole bunch of cats living next door to you? Or if you're trying to sell your house in Roselle Park and people come to see you have this cat colony, what's your chances of selling the house? Now, it is good that the train thing is working, and that is a good thing. But I just don't feel that this is the way to go yet. I think that the mayor and council, I'm asking you to please consider spending more time reviewing this ordinance before a final vote is taken. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Councilman Hoganson, for having the workshops. They were very informative. Everybody is allowed to have their own opinion. There's never going to be everybody that's, oh yeah, let's have this, oh yeah, let's have that. So with that said, and I am not an animal hater. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address. Tell us what's on your mind with regard to ordinance 2403 and ordinance 2403 only.
Chicago Simon, 200 West Webster.
I'm sorry, spell your name, please.
CHI
C-H-I.
KAKO. Last name is Simon, S-I-M-O-N-E.
S-I-M-O-N-E.
That's right. 200 West Webster.
I'm sorry, what's that?
200 West Webster Avenue. I just express my feelings about this TNR program and the ordinance. And first of all, I would like to very much thank you to Councilman Hoganson and councilmen and councilwomen of Roselle Park for considering trap neuter return program for stray and feral cats and efforts to bring the ordinance for voting today. I also would like to very much thank you to the individual supporters, Maria Samadiopoulos, I'm sorry if I may not be pronouncing it right, who's telling me we can do better approach to TNR, approach of TNR, and the non-profit institution supporters for their avid support and dedication to TNR and stray feral cats. TNR is truly worthy and a conscientious program when we think of the opposite end of the management of the stray feral cats by sweeping them off in a strategy, not seeing them in the best to keep a town image spruced while sending stray feral cats to perish. The strategy is taken up by so many towns. I'm proud to be the resident of Roselle Park. I truly believe to implement TNR program is an advanced thinking to cohabit with life all precious. As Mayor said, Roselle Park as caring a town, that self is very unique, I think. My experiences with the TNR and the feral cats are very limited. My resources are limited, but I like to contribute to the program and to the goodwill of humanity as much as I can in my capacity. Again, I would like to say I'm very much proud to be the residents of Roselle Park, and earnestly hope that the town will implement the ordinance of the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address, and tell us what's on your mind.
Saul Kearson, 150 Berwyn Street. I just have actually just some clarifications, and I hope it doesn't, maybe can be addressed in further workings of the ordinance. I noticed that in the previous incarnation, there was a limit to the number of colonies. I just want to make sure that as it reads now, there is no limit, but my follow-up question to that is, what constitutes a limit?
I'll defer all your questions to Councilman Hoganson, who spearheaded this effort.
Right now, there's about 3, so the limit could be 3, could be 5. So it's just, you know.
No, I mean within a colony. Like, I remember before it was 10.
We started out with 10. We're going to try to maintain it, but there is space. It's, you know, could be 9, could be 11.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
And then my follow-up question is, then what constitutes? In other words, so suppose there's 11, and then there's a section in the ordinance that says you can't have any additions to the colony. Is a colony started when registration takes place? Okay, so that's just to clarify.
Yeah, because this way we know.
Okay, and then it says that a report is to be given annually. I presume it's in January. Maybe the clerk would know. Okay, I mean, like every January, but I presume that when the colony is registered. Right, that was my second question.
How about January and June?
It's good enough for me. I just needed to know that because it didn't say that in the section. And my other question is regarding the registration. It says that the responsible caretaker will be required to register. As it stands, is there a fee for that registration?
If I stand corrected, I think the fee's been waived because of the notary and everything else.
I just want to make sure that
I will.
maybe that can be clarified. Let's not hold this up anymore.
Yeah.
We'll get a later version. And my other question is, in section 7, it states about the violations and penalties. The explicit amount was removed before. I just want to confirm that the violation that will apply will be section 8-11.8. And whatever fines are associated with that will be what will be placed. Oh, I'm sorry, it's the last, it's section 7. Violations and penalties.
It references section 8-11.8.
Correct.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that whatever that violation or fee is, that's what will apply, not the $1,000 that was before.
No.
And just my final question is going back to section 4, subsection C, where you had said that to report semi-annually, I guess you gave a time frame, but for the initial report, will that accompany, I guess, the application? I guess that would make sense. All right. Like, so when you register, is that when your first report will be handed in? So suppose you register in May, like you register now, then I guess you give your initial report of your colony, the entire whatever the requisites are.
Yeah.
Is that okay? It's not going to wait till January for you to do it.
The registration would constitute the first report.
Yes.
It sounds like it.
That sounds right to me.
Okay.
Yeah, plus the fact that the annual, updates.
Right, no, just,
Communications will be there.
just wanted to clear that up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address, tell us what's on your mind with regard to this ordinance or this ordinance.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Delia Collins. I live at 72 Delia, D-E-L-I-A, Collins, C-O-L-L-I-N-S. Okay, I live at 72 Georgia Street in Clark. Georgia? Right, like the state. Okay. I wanted to bring up some points, and I praise the the borough of Roselle Park for instituting the trap, neuter, and return ordinance. I brought these points up before, but I think they need to be stressed. There's an ACO, an animal control officer in any township, cannot remove every feral that is out there. And not every feral is a wild cat, or every cat that's out there is a feral. It could be someone's pet. It could be just a wild cat. Not every cat that you see on the street is a feral cat. It could be someone's pet that got out and, maybe just lost. No animal rescue group will come to a town and remove any pet in a mass removal. I don't know of any. One of the prior speakers had brought up that there were no other towns or cities in the state of New Jersey that have trap, neuter, and return. Atlantic City has a boardwalk cats, Asbury Park.
I mean to interrupt you, the comment was about Union County.
Oh, Union County, well, why doesn't Roselle Park be the first? And be compassionate towards the animals, and just to let you know, I know you said not in Union County, but the mayor of Seaside Park did receive an award by the New Jersey Animal Welfare Federation for his support of these feral cats in Seaside Park, especially after Sandy. They are taken care of by a group of dedicated cat people. They have their own structures, they're fed twice a day, and they're taken care of by compassionate people. Another comment was made, well, who are you going to call? I'm out there anyway. I don't live in your town, but I will help the people in Roselle Park with any of these issues with the cats. I'm compassionate. I wear Justin's picture with pride. He was a burned cat in Philadelphia. He has no ears any longer. This is why we're out there, to take care of these animals that other people don't care about. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address, tell us what's on your mind.
Jacob McGarrett, 6 Sheridan Avenue, Roselle Park. Councilman Hulkerson, you've done a great job as animal control, balancing between the two groups. And I respect that. And respect the people coming up and voicing their concerns. I personally, for myself, have a cat, a neighbor's cat, that comes to my backyard and does its duty. I've also seen at the ShopRite in Elizabeth, and a resident of Roselle Park who started this colony, and they're neutered. And it's a senior citizen that comes to ShopRite and feeds the cats about 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when I do my shopping. So I wish you all a lot of luck in your decision. And everyone who's here questioning and asking for help. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address, tell us what's on your mind with regard to this ordinance.
Elizabeth Kirsten, 150 Berwyn Street. Not to take sides on the issue, but I did find that Springfield Township may possibly, from what I've read, have a trap, neuter, release program that I don't believe they've advertised per se, but it might be something that you guys might want to follow up with them, because it looks like they initiated it or had it through their health department in 2013. So just wanted to let you know.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address, tell us what's on your mind.
Okay. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance number 2403.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Public hearing on ordinance 2403 is now closed. Do I hear a motion in a second on
Mayor.
ordinance 2403?
Mayor, I would like to make a motion that ordinance number 2403 be adopted on second reading and advertised as prescribed by law.
Second.
Questions or comments? I'd like to make a few comments about it. I think something needs to be done, and I thank Councilman Hokinson for stepping up and trying to address the issue from all sides. It's a very difficult issue. There are health concerns, there are neighborly concerns, there are misunderstandings, there are misperceptions, there are feelings involved. I think what we have here is a second or third try at an ordinance for the Borough of Roselle Park. One of the comments that was made was that Roselle Park could be Googled and it came up as inhumane. I don't think anybody sitting up here has ever thought of it that way. I don't think anybody really out there in the audience can believe that, because we have been working on the issue since it was brought to our attention. There are certain tweaks that I think need to happen to the ordinance, and I don't vote on the ordinance, so I certainly can't step in the way of anything happening now, and I don't want to step in the way of anything happening now. But at the very least, I think there are some concerns because our Board of Health has not been supportive of this ordinance. Our animal control staff, not our animal control liaison, but our animal control staff, is not supportive of this ordinance. In the same way as with a ordinance that deals with zoning or planning goes to the municipal land use board, there are reasons why we pass these things by the other groups that have a little bit more expertise than we do in certain areas to try to get their input. And they are not supportive of the ordinance for any number of reasons, some of which we've heard tonight. By the same token, there are people out there that are expert in TNR, and I can't even begin to tell you how little I know about it and how educated I've become in the past 6 months over it. I hope that this ordinance tonight, if it does pass, is a starting point to try to address an issue that then we can build upon to try to get everybody to the table so that way we have an even better ordinance. It can be amended later on, it can be added on to, things can be subtracted from it, and I encourage council to continue looking at it from that perspective. If it is approved this evening, that there are some clear areas that need to be tweaked. If there are dollars that need to be attached to it, they need to be attached. If there are timelines that need to be attached to this ordinance, they need to be attached. They're not on there right now. So I ask council to consider this based on all the information they have now, but recognize that this is an incomplete ordinance that requires continued work. Councilman Hokinson has done a wonderful job of bringing this ordinance to the table and making everybody aware of all the issues. But I ask you all to continue addressing the issues that will continue to exist even if this ordinance is passed. Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Yocumbo.
Yes.
Councilman Oakenson.
Yes.
Councilman Casais.
Yes.
Councilwoman Story.
Yes.
Councilman Kelly.
Yes.
Councilman Almarasi.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance 2403 is hereby approved. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance 2404 by title only.
Resolution, ordinance 2404 is an ordinance amending chapter 27, article 3, section 27.6 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park for the purpose of establishing a rate of charges for sewer users in the borough.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Do I hear a motion?
Yes. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion at the public hearing on ordinance number 2404.
Is it around the chamber?
All those in favor? All those opposed? Public hearing portion for ordinance 2404 is now open. Anyone wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address, and tell us what's on your mind.
Jacob McGarrett, 612 Sheridan Avenue, Roselle Park. How much money do we have in surplus, the sewer tax surplus? I'm sorry, yeah.
We don't have the books up here, so
Just under $492,000.
Does that include the $350,000?
Yes, it does.
So we used $350,000.
I would think it was $142,000.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
anyone else wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address, tell us what's on your mind with regard to ordinance 2404 and ordinance 2404.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to close public hearing on ordinance 2404.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Public hearing portion of ordinance 2404, I'm sorry. Yes, the public hearing portion of ordinance 2404 is hereby closed. Do I hear a motion and a second on ordinance 2404?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion on ordinance number 2404 be adopted on the second reading and advertised as prescribed by law.
Second.
Any questions or comments on ordinance 2404?
Yes, Mayor, I just want to note for the council and for the public, this will be the 6th year that the borough has maintained a 0% change to our rate. So it has not been increased in 6 years. And there's been a slight decrease in the industrial, right?
Yes, correct.
That's keeping in line with our promise to try to stabilize taxes and fees in the borough. And I thank county council for working hard to make that happen. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Yocumbo on ordinance 2404.
Yes.
Councilman Oakenson.
Yes.
Councilman Casais.
Yes.
Councilwoman Story. Yes. Councilman Kelly.
Yes.
Councilman Almarasi.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance 2404 is hereby approved. Councilman Hokinson, I believe we have some ordinances for introduction. I'll ask the borough clerk to read them by title.
Ordinance 2406 is an ordinance amending Chapter 40 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Roselle Park regulating generators, Section 40-3003L.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that ordinance number 2406 be adopted on the first reading and advertised as prescribed by law for a second reading at the public hearing on June 19th, year 2014.
Second.
Questions or comments? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Again, this was, I'd like to thank Carl Pacino, Tom, our borough engineer, the code enforcement lady, that we had numerous meetings over this. And what happens is,
It's been a long night.
It's
Lynn's favorite?
yes, yes. I apologize. Yeah, we had the numerous meetings about this. It was brought to our attention because actually what happens is if something new comes into the borough, like years ago, somebody wanted solar panels, and they came in with the permit, we had to reject it because of the fact that there's nothing in the ordinances. The ordinance was researched, it's worked. Again, it could use maybe a little tweak here and there, but it's just something where under circumstances after Sandy, where people are out of power for 16 days, the people now want to, generate, their own homes. So at least now we can do it, and this also applies for the permanent all-natural gas generator. And I would love to see the ordinance even get amended to like all gas stations and food supplies or restaurants and stuff. But it's good. It's a start. I'm happy for it.
Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Yakubo?
Yes.
Councilman Hoganson?
Yes.
Councilman Size?
Yes.
Councilman Story?
Yes.
Councilman Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman Roselle?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance 2406 is approved for introduction. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance 2407 by title only.
2407 is an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Section 68.88 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Roselle Park regarding the borough-wide garage sale.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that ordinance number 2407-2407 be adopted on first reading and advertised as prescribed by law for a second reading and public hearing on June 5th, 2014.
Second.
Questions or comments? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Yakubo?
Yes.
Councilman Hoganson?
Yes.
Councilman Size?
Yes.
Councilwoman Story?
Yes.
Councilman Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman Rossi?
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ordinance 2407 is approved for introduction. And finally, Madam Clerk, ordinance 2408.
2408 is an ordinance authorizing the sale of certain real property to the Rollway Valley Sewerage Authority.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion that ordinance number 2408-2408 be adopted on first reading and advertised as prescribed by law for a second reading and public hearing on June 5th, 2014.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Yes, Mayor. I ask the council to vote no and demand a lower rate from Norway now. Don't give them the deed. I'm just joking. Please don't vote no. Oh, yes.
If you vote no, I'll cry.
Go ahead. You want to see sewer that's really backed up? Norway won't accept it.
Brief moment of levity.
Went nowhere.
Wow.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll quickly.
Councilman Yakubo?
Yes.
Councilman Hoganson?
Yes.
Councilman Size?
Yes.
Councilman Story?
Yes.
Councilman Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman Rossi?
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll now do our consent agenda. These matters are considered routine and non-controversial by the council and will be approved in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the member of council requests that the item be removed from the consent agenda, in which case it will be removed and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda as part of the general orders. Madam Clerk, please read resolutions 106-14 through 112-14 minus 110-14.
10614, authorizing the treasurer to issue a check in the amount of $37,995.18 for redemption of tax bill certificate 12-012 on block 304 lot 16 and a check for $26,000 from the tax collector's premium account. 10714, accepting the resignation of John Thompson as engineer for the Lorraine Post Company 10814, appointing Patrick Workus to the rank of engineer for Lorraine Hose Company. 10914, amending Resolution 10514, accepting the retirement of Maria Stender from the position of Court Administrator to read effective August 1st, 2014. 11114, awarding a contract to A3 Contracting LLC in the amount of $16,080 for the project Roselle Park Home Improvement Program Case RP09C, Block 401, Lot 3.02. 11214, appointment of certified referees and scorekeeper timekeepers for the 2014 Roselle Park Recreation Basketball League.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Does anybody wish any of these items to be removed from the consent agenda? Council President?
Mayor, I would like to make a motion to approve the resolutions on the consent agenda.
Second.
That's 106-14, 107-14, 108-14, 109-14, 111-14, and 112-14. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Yockelbo.
Yes.
Councilman Wilkinson.
Yes.
Councilman Casais.
Yes.
Councilwoman Story. Yes. Councilman Kelly.
Yes.
And Councilman Almaraz.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative. Mayor?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, first I'd like to announce the appointment of Patrick Workus to the rank of engineer at Lorraine Hose Company, which is what one of those consent agenda items was. I'd also like to announce the appointment of John DeVito, who's a young man that I've known growing up over the years. I used to see him crying coming off the wrestling mat. Of 168 East Lincoln Avenue, Roselle Park, as a member of the Roselle Park Fire Department, effective immediately, to be assigned to the Lorraine Hose Company. I'd also like to appoint Eva Boyko and Rosemarie Mikowski as volunteer desk staff at the Casano Community Center. And last, not on the agenda this evening, but it's an add-on, unless somebody has an objection to it, I would like to accept the resignation of Ralph Ortiz from the Municipal Land Use Board, effective the date that he had provided me his initial resignation, which I believe was in January. When I receive resignations, I tend to put them aside so that people can think them over. And this is one that I never put on the regular agenda, so I ask you all to understand that the only reason why it's coming up now is because I never brought it to your attention previously. Are there any questions or comments about any of those items? Are there any other items that we need to discuss for the good of the cause this evening?
Madam Clerk, just one quick question. Ordinance 2406, the generator ordinance, that's going to go to Land Use Board first for their comment.
Yes, it will, tomorrow. That's why that one won't be adopted till mid-June. Right, because they didn't want it on the agenda for Monday's meeting. They're going to do it at their first meeting, which is the 16th, I believe, in June.
Thank you. Okay, now we're ready to go into closed session, whereas the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Roselle Park wish to discuss matters which are described in the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, Sunshine Law, JSA 10:3-12, and whereas the general reasons for subject to discuss in closed session are possible litigation, Rook versus Roselle Park, Genie's Fitness versus Roselle Park, Gottschalk versus Roselle Park, and ongoing litigation, Selecki versus Roselle Park, Stender versus Roselle Park, equipment rental versus Roselle Park, negotiations with regard to the sale of borough property, and State versus Reinhardt. Whereas the time when the circumstances under which the items discussed in closed session will be disclosed to the public at a future time, now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Roselle Park adjourn the open portion of the meeting and open a closed portion of the meeting to discuss the above items. So I hear a motion to go into closed.
Motion closed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? We're now in closed session. Thank you, everybody. Okay, we're back in, you might. We're back in open session. In closed session, we discussed the following items. Possible litigation, Rook versus Roselle Park, Genie's Fitness versus Roselle Park, Gottschalk versus Roselle Park, litigation involving Selecki versus Roselle Park, Stender versus Roselle Park, equipment rental versus Roselle Park, and State versus Reinhardt, and negotiations regarding the sale of borough property. We didn't reach a conclusion on any of those items. We didn't reach a resolution on these items except for Genie's Fitness versus Roselle Park. The reason why that's possible litigation is because the Municipal Land Use Board heard that matter and found that she was in violation of borough codes, and therefore the Genie's Fitness has received a notice to close. And the reason why it's possible litigation is because pending an appeal, which would be due by May 21st, we're not taking any other action at this time.
And Mayor, just to go along with that also, there was a criminal charge, a borough violation charged by the code officer against Genie's Fitness. They had a court hearing a week ago, in which they did plead guilty. So that portion of the case is also.
Thank you. Are there any other items for discussion this evening? Not. Have a good night, everybody.
Motion. Motion.
Second here. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? You're hereby adjourned.